President Trump not only will resolve this in the short term, but in the long term, his policies are going to create a golden age. I think this is a temporary a distraction that will very, very quickly go away. I think our excellent negotiating team will finish the job, and then we'll be back on track to one of the best years ever.
Markets up again today after soaring yesterday on a ceasefire deal. Real negotiations just beginning. The White House says that golden age economy is still right on schedule. The question for investors, is this a real resolution or just a relief rally? Welcome to the Big Money Show. I'm Taylor Riggs along with my co-hosts Jerry Willis, Marcus Lemonis, Jackie DeAngelis, and with us for the hour, Fox Business's Lauren Simonetti. Hi there. Great to have you.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
So from the battlefield to the bargaining table, Vice President J.D. Vance leading successful peace negotiations this week. Now President Trump wants to send him to lead more talks with Iranian officials in Pakistan Saturday. The VP says it is time to get a long-term deal done.
I wanted to be involved because I thought I could make a difference. And obviously, I think the people really on the ground doing the day-to-day negotiating have been Steve and Jared. They've done a great job. I encourage the Iranians to come to the table seriously. We've seen some signs that they're going to do that. We've seen some signs of bravado. Fundamentally, we're in a good spot.
The president also openly considering a NATO shakeup. Let's call it, well, a foreign policy performance review. All right, Lauren, I want to come to you. We'll save the NATO stuff for a little bit. I want to come to you on the Iranian negotiations, because one of my favorite emails that I get every day from you is the vessel tracker in the Strait of Hormuz. Lauren Simonetti emails in an hour ago. My issue, only 2 oil tankers today. Am I right? What do you see? What do you like?
And I believe both of those were Iranian flagged. So now what these tankers are doing as they're trying to go through the strait is, if Iran is charging some sort of fee, they're having them go, actually the way they move is closer to Iran instead of more open in the strait. And then, like I said, charging that fee, and only their tankers can flow, and only 8 tankers in 2 days of ceasefire have been able to get through. This is horrific. And one of the top oil ministers out of the UAE came out today and he said, no, you're saying President Trump and whoever agrees that we have a ceasefire and the strait is open? No, it's not. It is effectively closed, and there are too many contingencies on it. To bring up NATO really quick, what is NATO countries, what do they get from this key waterway? They get their oil and mostly their LNG. LNG is so important. They don't have Russia anymore. They have us in the U.S. We will, by the end of the year, supply Europe with 60% of their LNG. But right now, they need it, and they need it fast, and it's stuck in the strait. So the markets go up when the strait is more open.
And yet there's no urgency, Jackie, from those European countries. They're not eager to get in and help up. My favorite comment is when the war broke out on Saturday, they said, we'll reconvene Monday during normal business operating hours. How do you see this? Big negotiations kicking off in a couple days. The market reaction feels fragile to me. The rally feels fragile. How do you see this?
Because the ceasefire is fragile. This is moment to moment, day to day, minute to minute. And I think the market is telling you that. In equities, we saw the kind of bounce we got yesterday on the optimism here. So the optimism is still in the equity market, but the oil market's telling you a different story. The oil market, close to $100 a barrel again, is saying, we're not sure exactly what's going to happen here. Lauren, your commentary on the strait is exactly right. What is really happening through that strait? Are boats moving? The Iranians are continuing to hold a very, very tight grip on the Strait of Hormuz. And even though part of the ceasefire deal was, well, you have to open the strait, the fact that they've got such a tight grip on it is a little bit concerning. Also, remember that Lebanon was not supposed to be part of this ceasefire deal. Hezbollah is located in Lebanon. Israel bombing Lebanon. Now Iran's saying, oh, no, it was supposed to be part of the deal. You can't do that. So there are a lot of issues here as we move forward. Now, I happen to think Vice President Vance going to Pakistan to help lead the negotiations will probably be a positive thing, seen as a positive thing from the other side, because reading between the lines, you've had Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner leading negotiations, and they've done a great job, but they are seen by the Iranians as sympathizing with Israel. And So they're really not sure that they can move forward in any way. Reports have also indicated that, the president's got a lot of advisors. They tell him to do what they think. He likes to have a diverse view of opinions before he makes decisions. But my understanding is from these reports that maybe Vance wasn't 100% on board with all of this, and he does want to wrap it up. So these are all little aspects that can tweak how this negotiation goes. Now, I think the Islamabad, Pakistan location is significant as well, because during the initial talks leading up to this ceasefire, it was Pakistan and China. They need the oil too, not just the NATO countries, putting some pressure on Iran to say, we need the oil, you got to move things through the strait and get business flowing again. So it's interesting to see all the countries, all the voices at play behind the scenes, not necessarily sitting up front at the table, but a lot of competing interests here.
One of my favorite things about that intro that we read is performance review. And if there's a man who does performance reviews daily.
I do them on you every day, so you know.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I think.
You pass on all cases.
You do performance reviews. I want a performance review on the strait, and not to give Iran credit, but they're saying it takes them time to make sure that they're a safe passage. I'm assuming they're trying to maybe remove some of the mines that they had planted, maybe to make sure that they don't inadvertently maybe blow up a ship that's trying to pass through. Maybe we could give them some credit. I don't know. And then a performance review on NATO and maybe a more fractured NATO and whether that's a good thing.
Yeah, I think I'm going to pull all the performance review ideas around how should I be playing the market right now? And I think that really is important. And if you look at the rally, both yesterday and today, you have to believe that people are liking the idea of the deal, not an actual deal. And there's underlying implications that make it very dangerous to make certain trades. And I haven't really figured out which ones those are. But in the next 72 hours, things can fall apart really quickly. We don't really understand the implications of NATO, and that really concerns me. And we know what the oil implications are. We're seeing it go from 90 to 105, back and forth, wild swings. At the end of the day, I believe that commerce is going to learn how to work around the entire strait issue. What I didn't like that Hassan said, and I don't know if anybody heard it, and maybe I'm just sensitive, he referred to this war as a distraction. We're going to get past this distraction and everything's going to be fine in the economy. This is not a distraction. This is underlying fundamentals that are being compromised in the middle of the important part of the year for retailers when they're seeing products start to increase, for consumers as they get ready to travel for the summer and gas prices are going up. This isn't a distraction. In somebody's pocketbook or at their kitchen table, they are looking at their finances and they're saying to themselves, this doesn't feel like a distraction. This feels like it's real money coming out of my pocket. So performance review in that sense, I want clarity from everybody. There's no clarity. Well, we need clarity.
For a long time.
How long?
My view on this is, look, this 2 weeks is going to come and go very, very quickly, and we're probably going to be bombing again. Because I don't see any signs that the Iranians are doing anything to seriously address the negotiation. In fact, the vice president himself said that their first version of their 10 negotiating points looked like it came from ChatGPT. So they took it and they threw it away. I'm quoting J.D. Vance here. This isn't something I made up. It sounds like I made it up, but I did not. Look, this whole situation, this is why they invented the phrase fragile ceasefire. This is fragile. And I think what the markets are getting their arms around is the idea that we may be still at it 2 weeks from now. And they're not happy about the Strait of Hormuz. It is not open. That's a very big deal. And of course, we're not even talking about the big kahuna, which is the nuclear materials that still are not rescued from that country.
On that note, an op-ed in Fox News this morning. I pull this with your retail expertise and then everyone jump in. The Pottery Barn rule, you break it, you own it. we did this. We got to fix it. That means no nuclear weapons for however long that takes, I'm assuming. You can't go in and do this and then say, okay, now we're done.
We kind of fixed it.
Right. You got to make sure there are zero nuclear weapons if that is the reason that we did this. So is the will to be there? And maybe there's not, and that's maybe not a good thing, because maybe we do need the will to be there. How do you see that? And then jump in, Jackie, Lauren.
I want to be optimistic. I think I'm leaning more with Jerry that the 2 weeks maybe even be an exaggeration. If the Strait isn't open and and oil is starting to escalate again and people aren't honoring deals, I wouldn't be surprised at a midnight surprise. I wouldn't be surprised if things just unleashed again. And maybe that's why Vance, I think I heard one of you say that Vance may not be going to Pakistan for safety reasons. That could be part of the reason. Why put him in the middle of that situation?
I agree with you. So I wasn't willing to speculate forward yesterday, but I am willing to today. Ultimately, I think this is another negotiation by President Trump where he gives you the rope to hang yourself. He gives the Iranians the opportunity to agree to a ceasefire, knowing to a certain extent that they will break that ceasefire, and that gives him more ammunition to take care of the nuclear issue. The nuclear issue is really complicated. Part of the negotiation is supposed to be, if there is a true deal in earnest, that they completely, literally hand over the nuclear or enriched uranium that they have that could turn into 11 nuclear bombs, or, that they commit to not doing the enrichment program anymore. That would mean U.S. inspectors. That would mean opening up the books to the United States in the future to make sure. I don't foresee this terrorist regime making that kind of deal. So how do you get the uranium? We could try to bomb it like we did in the last operation last year in June. We could use those special ops that have moved into the region to try to go take it. That could potentially be the next step.
That's ground troops. And the Wall Street Journal editorial board was writing about that last night, that the two negatives that they see, there are positives, but the two negatives in this fragile ceasefire is Strait of Hormuz, Iran's still controlling it, and as you're saying, their ability to enrich uranium. They've got the stockpiles. How do we get it? Getting it might mean ground troops. Are Americans up for that? The biggest hurdle here, and I say hurdle because it's something we can't control, but Iran thinks they can, and it's time. It's the calendar. The midterm elections are in November, and if you look at oil futures going out, they're about $70 in July. They're about 70 the whole way out, meaning that Americans are going to go to the polls paying $3 and something cents a gallon for gasoline, and that's not what Trump campaigned on for either of his presidencies. So if that's the situation now, when we have so much of our own energy resources, that could leave Americans mad at the situation. So he promised a timeline to this war. We're not out of that timeline yet, but Iran is going to push that timeline and make it go as far to November as they can.
He also promised no boots on the ground, to your point,
Yes.
and therefore making the case, as I see him sort of setting this up for that, would be, I said no boots on the ground, but this has escalated to a point where to finish this job, we have to do that. That is a very tough message to sell ahead of the midterms, along with high gas prices. But I believe him when he says that he wants to finish the job, and he wants to finish the job the right way. So how that ends up looking remains to be seen.
Lauren, you talked about the $70. Just a fun little fact. You talked about the $70 still being in the $3.30 to $3.40 range. For people to think about it, it's about 40 cents for every $5. So to break $3 a gallon, you're going to have to be closer to $60 a barrel. The possibility of that happening, I don't see happening. 65, 70 maybe.
What I will say on a good note, the markets, at least today, seeing this as an attractive maybe buying opportunity if you think the fundamentals of this economy are still very much intact. I'll pull a Dagan here. I like that yields are falling. That means that foreign buyers aren't forced selling treasuries to buy their own currencies to help their economy. So I actually like lower yields today is actually a positive sign, which is the reverse of typically what we think. And so again, at least markets trying to get that WTI back below 90. There is pocket of stress, though, and I want to go to private credit, and you guys jump in here. The flagship private credit fund by Carlyle, the Tactical Private Credit Fund, said that they had redemptions of almost 16% of their funds. So again, they've said that they're diversified, that they don't see a big risk, but there are pockets of stress away from Iran within this market. Private credit, SaaS apocalypse have been some of those fears. You guys jump in. Is this a one-off, or is there a risk here of this becoming a bigger economic calamity?
Lauren, what do you think? I mean, I always love your perspective on this kind of stuff.
I'm not very concerned about this. I think it's just pockets of uncertainty. It seems to be, I don't know. I think the whole Iran story and the broader economic picture has overshadowed these pockets from the small groups.
The redemptions worry me. People sort of grabbing money, but are they grabbing them to redeploy those assets, that cash, in things that they think are oversold? And is that why the market looks a little better? Are people just moving things around? I still don't like the redemptions. You're going to have folks like Carlyle start to put walls up to say, whoa, too much.
I also think it's a little panic. You see some people starting to redeem, the rumor mill starts, people get nervous, and then all of a sudden it sort of snowballs, even if they're not looking to deploy the capital. It's that worry. But right now, there doesn't seem, to your point, to really be a huge reason to worry, and so it seems overblown.